Say who can pull both West Michigan and East Michigan together. They're starting to diverge on quite a few areas. One of them being union, non-union, environmentally, economically, and West Side, Pete Hoekstra probably is going to look at things a little bit more in that way, and then I think Mike Cox would probably be a little bit more pragmatic of saying, well, we don't have two Michigans, we have one Michigan. This is what we need to move it forward. So that's kind of where I came down on it. If Pete Hoekstra gets the nod, I'll certainly be a happy man. But I am going to support Mike Cox.
There have been plenty of candidates at the presidential level anyway, and I guess at the gubernatorial level too, who won the nomination but had no chance of winning the general.
Right.
I mean, and it was pretty plainly evident. I thought Bob Dole was one of those candidates who everybody wanted to give the gold watch to for his years of service, and certainly an honorable man, but was going to get mowed over by Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Michigan. I mean, look at some of the people on both sides of the aisle who won the Michigan primaries. I think Pat Robertson won the Michigan primary.
Did he?
If he
I
didn't,
must have blocked that out.
Well, if he didn't, he came very, very close, and I believe Jesse Jackson also had a real good run in Michigan, and Mike Huckabee had a good run in Michigan. There's been some candidates that have taken Michigan that haven't really done well nationally, so...
even John McCain, who
right.
he beat, didn't he beat George W. in the primary here in Michigan? Yeah. Now, on the surface, you might say that he was a strong candidate, but in hindsight, maybe nobody could have beaten Barack Obama.
No, I think you're right, and it'll be a better test of Barack Obama's staying power next time around. In 2012, when there's going to be an awful lot more known about him, I think it'll be a better indication. Yeah, it was a tsunami, and whoever was going to be in there, I really felt it looked a lot like Bob Dole. He put in his time, he was given his dues, but he wasn't going to win against Bill Clinton. So it's a little bit like that. But one thing that John Truscott said is, I don't think that the Republicans will get behind Mike Cox because he's so divisive. That's just not true. If you're going to vote in the Republican primary, you're not going to cross over and vote for a Democrat in the main election. So it's a little fog of war that happens in this last week, and truth is the first casualty. So a little concerned about that.
Yeah, but maybe he means support in other manner, like campaigning and that sort of thing.
That's true. Maybe the intensity, and if Andy Dillon would win the Democratic primary, I mean, he is enough of a moderate to centrist. You could make an argument that may happen, but I don't see a person who would vote for Hoekstra in the primary saying, you know what, I got so mad at Mike Cox, I think I'm going to vote for Virgil Bonero in the general. I don't think that's going to happen.
Why don't look across the aisle then, if you will, at the Democratic primary?
Yeah.
You're obviously very conservative.
Right.
What do you see happening on the other side?
Well, last time we were here, I told you I really liked what I seen with Andy Dillon. I think that just like every other candidate, he has a right and a left in his party, and he hasn't ran to either side. He's been right down the middle. He's taking it to the unions in a lot of ways. He's taking it to the state workers in a lot of ways. That's his base, and he's not afraid to stand up and say this is what needs to be done to move forward. Obviously he's more liberal than I would vote for, but I think if you're a middle-of-the-road Democrat, I think Andy Dillon would be real appealing.
He has not run a strong campaign, though.
No, I mean, a lot of times sometimes you can be a good lawmaker and not be a good campaigner. I mean,
then you got good campaigners who can't
exactly
govern.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look at Carl Levin. I mean, here's a guy who obviously for forever has been a senator in Michigan, well respected, and yet not a great campaigner. You'd have to admit. But yet he gets things done when he goes to Washington.
Wouldn't want to run against him, though.
I wouldn't want to run against him, and quite frankly, I don't really agree with him on any issue. But I really respect him, and he does a good job for his base when he's there. But he's certainly not a great campaigner.
See, senators can hold on forever, can't they?
They can, yeah. It's that 6-year thing. You can do an awful lot of damage in the first couple of years and not be held accountable.
I mean, I was in Kennebunkport last weekend and listening to the radio in Boston, and they were talking about how Kerry, Senator John Kerry, decided not to dodge his taxes on this $6 million yacht.
Right.
So he parked it across the state line or something to save $500,000.
Right. He's catching a lot of heat on that.
Whew.
Yeah, there's no question about that. But you know what? If it happens,
but he's our senator.
He's our senator, and if it happens early enough, boy, that's a long time to remember. I mean, we've got some people. I mean, look at John McCain was part of the Keating Five, right?
That didn't even come up.
Didn't even come up. No, it's different.
Your book
Yeah.
Pointed poems.
Pointed poems, right.
And this is teaching young people conservative values.
Right, yeah. It came out 2 weeks ago. It's starting to sell pretty well. Last week I picked up 2 endorsements. Mike Ditka called me. And
no
said,
kidding.
Yeah, he said, I'm reading your book. I love it. I want to endorse it. And on Friday, Coach Lou Holtz called me. Same thing. And they said, wow, this is a great book. And pretty excited about their endorsement.
That's terrific. Yeah. How did you get the book to those guys?
Well, I just sent it to them.
Just out of the blue.
It is
because you admire them, or
well, of course they're conservatives. I admire them. I'm looking for endorsements, and I'm self-publishing it, so it's up to me to push the book. And both those gentlemen said they would.
That's terrific. Yeah. PointedPoems.com.
Right, PointedPoems.com.
What a guess! And you can find out about it there. You can order it there too. It's Pointed Poems: Tools for Teaching Conservative Thinking.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Enjoy Election Day tomorrow, and we'll talk to you maybe on Wednesday morning.
That sounds great. Appreciate it.
35 minutes after the hour, Craig Wieland with his book, Pointed Poems, now in the hands of Mike Ditka and Lou Holtz, and who knows who's next. I'll tell you who's next with us. Brian Rooney, Republican candidate for Congress in the 7th District.